Wouldn't you love to see one of these NFL owners, when somebody disrespects our flag, to say, get that son of a bitch off the field right now, out, he's fired. He's fired! You know, some owner's going to do that. He's going to say, that guy that disrespects our flag, he's fired. And that owner, they don't know it. They don't know it. They're friends of mine, many of them. They don't know. They'll be the most popular person for a week. They'll be the most popular person in this country, because that's a total disrespect of our heritage. That's a total disrespect of everything that we stand for, okay? Everything that we stand for. And I know we have freedoms, and we have freedom of choice and many, many different freedoms. But you know what? It's still totally disrespectful. And you know, when the NFL ratings are down massively, the NFL ratings are down massively. Now, the number one reason happens to be that they like watching what's happening on, you know, with yours truly. They like what's happening. Because, you know, today if you hit too hard, right? They hit too hard, 15 yards, throw him out of the game. They had that last week. I watched for a couple of minutes, and two guys just really beautiful tackle. Boom, 15 yards. The referee gets on television. His wife is sitting at home. She's so proud of him. They're ruining the game, right? They're ruining the game.
They're disrespecting the flag. They're disrespecting the anthem. They're disrespecting the military. These have been the constant refrains from many people over the past week, most of them white, in response to NFL players locking arms, or taking a knee, or placing a fist in the air during the national anthem, that such things represent an attack on this country, on its servicemen and women, on America itself. Never mind that those actually protesting have denied such things over and over and over again, both before and after every game. Such details are of little importance, especially when those details would effectively diffuse any histrionics from the righteously indignant critics, and force them to actually confront the very real ugliness at hand. This purposeful missing of the point isn't surprising in Donald Trump's America, since gaslighting and deflecting and feigning ignorance are his modus operandi, tactics all of which have been on display in reckless incendiary press statements, nationalist-baiting tweets, and "I never said anything about race" post-game stupidity. In saying that these athletes are protesting the flag, or the military, or the anthem, you are choosing to listen to your bias and not their actual words. You're simply ignoring their repeated statements in order to perpetuate the narrative you need to oppose them without feeling any responsibility to wrestle with the difficult issues they raise. By creating a black and white traitorous NFL player versus America storyline, you're able to completely ignore the stated and repeated impetus behind Kaepernick's initial protest, and everyone that's followed. The plea for people of color to be treated with equity by law enforcement, the criminal justice system, and our government. When the president labels these men sons of bitches who should be terminated, he's only proving why their protests are valid and necessary to begin with. The idea that there was a better way to do these demonstrations is a diversion and unhelpful, as there are a million ways to be an activist. Colin Kaepernick originally leveraged his platform, influence, and visibility to peacefully declare that black lives are valuable and should be part of whatever making America great again looks like. It's really that simple. The hysterical response to it all by largely white Americans only underscores precisely why Kaepernick protested in the first place, the deeply embedded racism this country is afflicted with, and why many white people will do almost anything to avoid dealing with it. The better way they were looking for from these players is one out of the spotlight, away from their entertainment, and somewhere they didn't have to look at it or deal with it. A piece of cloth is not sacred, and a song, especially one with a suspect genesis, is not sacred. They are symbols of a freedom that those serving our country have died to give all of us, and to protect for all of us. That freedom is supposed to be available to every human being who calls this country home, because they, not the flag or the anthem, are sacred. They alone are worthy of reverence and honor and respect. And the simple, brutal truth is that since America's inception, people of color have not received anything close to such equity. They've been the ones who have been disrespected, and this is being extremely kind. That's why Colin Kaepernick took a knee. It's why players locked arms. It's why they raised their fists in the air. They have said as much without hesitation or ambiguity. They have done these things not because they hate this country, but because they want everyone here to have the liberty the flag points to and the song suggests. For anyone to try to put words in their mouths or assign to them motives that they've clearly denied, or to try and shame and silence them because this all makes them uncomfortable, is the very definition of privilege. It's exactly the kind of marginalizing and disregard that made these protests necessary in the first place. To come to the defense of a piece of cloth or a song, and not to the people beneath these protests, is willful sin. White friends, you don't get to decide what patriotism looks like for people of color. That's why it's called freedom. The fact that many of you don't seem to understand this, that you feel entitled to police them and to force them into an expression that you sanction, shows why these protests are necessary. This is not about an attack on a flag, or an anthem, or on those who serve this country. You can try and make it about those things, but that really just makes it about you, what you're willing to talk about, and what you don't want to be inconvenienced with. I think that's the point these players are making. America is about more than you. Or at least it's supposed to be.